Magnus, Bengt and Nina from the Cardigans, hello.
Hello.
Hi. You've been very busy, and thank you for your time, because I know you're touring and talking to many people.
That's cool.
You enjoying Australia so far?
Yeah,
so far, yeah.
a lot.
I've got to ask you guys, I mean, for our folks here, for our audience, I guess your inclusion on the Romeo and Juliet soundtrack means a lot to us. So tell us about that story, how it came about.
Yeah, the director, Baz Luhrmann, the Australian man, he wanted us to write a song for his movie, because he was a Cardigans fan. But we were in the middle of recording this album, First Band on the Moon, so we didn't have time to write one song for him. So we offered him a couple of songs, and he liked La Foule, so we gave it to him.
It's a good song and it's a hit. We kind of felt it from the beginning, from when we wrote the song and when we recorded that it's going to be a good single. Then you can't really predict how big it's going to be, but you feel that it probably will appeal to people.
Nina, such a sweet voice. Have you been singing a long time?
No, well, since about the time I joined the band.
Which is how long, 5 or 6?
That should be 5 years, yeah.
Is it difficult singing and performing in English all the time? I mean, that's what you seem to do. Does it come naturally now to you?
It's very natural.
It's a deep thing in Sweden that 90 or 95% of all young bands sing in English. It would be much a stranger thing if we actually would have been singing in Swedish, being a young alternative pop band. That would have been something sensational in Sweden.
What happens when you go back home? Do you revert to singing in Swedish, or...?
No, we never sing in Swedish, thank God. Yeah. It's just a very unusual thing for young bands to sing in Swedish. Of course, those mainstream artists are singing in Swedish. They're not the young bands.
So you've been working pretty quickly. You've had 3 albums. And I know when you first got together that a couple of you at least were more along the line of a hard rock band. So it's kind of interesting how you've worked out to make these really pretty songs at this point.
It was more that when I first met our guitarist and songwriter, Peter, we're both dead tired of being hard rockers, having long hair and all that stuff. So we met back in 89 or 90, and we both discovered mainly British pop bands at that time. So we weren't really hard rockers when we started the Cardigans. We quit that bullshit a couple of years ago.
You mentioned ABBA before, and there are other bands like Roxette and Ace of Base who've, I guess, opened up the world to bands like yourself. Was it tough in the beginning to really hit into the big marketplaces when you're coming from a smaller country like Sweden?
Sorry about that. It's a trick. I think although Sweden is a small country, like you said, those bands have opened up, so people are actually aware that there's a country called Sweden and the music coming out from our country. But we might be the first alternative band come out from Sweden. But I think very good, loads of good festivals in Sweden in summertime with mainly British or American bands playing, so it wasn't that tough.
Would you say there's been a progression that is able to be heard from the first album now to the third one?
Music-wise? Or?
Yeah.
We hope so.
Yeah. It's more rocky now. And I mean, the first album was the first thing we ever did in the studio. So it was very experimental and not very mature maybe. And then the second album was very much a 60s project, both the music and the lyrics and the sleeve and everything. And now this one is more personal to us.
I think the next album will sound different, because all albums have different atmospheres, definitely. So although we don't know what it's going to sound like, it's probably going to sound quite different. We still hope that people will hear its Cardigans, of course, but it could sound like anything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Spend time with us. Enjoy your tour.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.